Today I'm talking to Gabriella Kovac. And Gabriella, you are Hungarian, married to a Hungarian, you've got 3 children, and you live in County Limerick. And you've lived there for 14 years as a family. And I'm really intrigued to talk to you about what has made Ireland the choice and Ireland home for so long. So thank you very much for being on the podcast to talk about this with me today.
Thank you for inviting me to be here today. Much appreciated. So the first part of your question, why Ireland? We were born in Hungary and we raised in Hungary and we started to work in Hungary. And to be honest with you, I always thought that Hungary will be my one and only country where I'm settling down. So when I finished university, whoever asked me where I'm thinking to be in 5 years' time, I would say, oh, in Hungary, I will, have a family home and kids, and we will visit the parents every week, and we will have a Sunday lunch together. So it was always in my mind that we are not traveling. However, when we find our first job in Hungary, we had to move from our hometown, both of us. And we were lucky that we found our job in the same city, but it was 300-kilometer away. So from that point of view, we were traveling constantly back to visiting the parents and of course we traveled for vacation reasons, but we had a lot of commute between our new city and the parents, our hometown. And after the kids arrived, of course, there was an increasing demand from the parents to travel back and forth between the two cities. But my husband didn't feel um, full in his workplace. So after a couple of years, he said that okay, I want something more. I want something else. And even if he was a very well respected employee in at his company, he didn't feel right. And you see on your partner that you have to let him choose and go and explore further because it will just backfire on
Completely.
him. So he started to look for jobs. First of all, he looked for um, any country in the EU where the majority language for the job is English. So we, of course, came first choice check job options in UK, and he found a lot, but all was based on all were based on contract, and we were afraid with 2 small kids move countries and leave based on a contract, 6, 10 months job. We just were not brave that much. And after one day, I remember suddenly he got a call from Ireland from a company, and they offered him a job. So after 2 hours, he submitted the CV. I clearly remember he got a call, and on the following day, he had the interview. And 2 weeks after that, he started a job in Ireland. So
Mm,
really, we just knew that we need a change.
mm,
We knew that we want to stay in Europe, and we knew that Ireland has maybe the if I say it, if I can say the corner of Europe, uh, not far away. If we need to come home, we can visit the parents. Maybe not as often as before, but we can do it. So we jumped into that option, and he accepted the job. As I said, 2 weeks from
mm.
that, he moved to
Fantastic.
Ireland.
When you think that both sides of your families, your parents wanted you to be closer to them, not further away, how did they respond to
Oh, they were
this intended move?
they were shocked. So we had to explain to them that those parents airplane, it wasn't a commonly used traveling option. Train fine, car fine, but airports, airplanes, that level of traffic, it was not commonly used for my parents. It just wasn't there. And we had to just explain to them that if we just hop on an airplane, we will be there 3 hours between Dublin and Budapest, the flying time. And this is just, half of the time when we travel from one city to another by train in Hungary. So when you had to break it down that, it's not that far if we, of course, if you use bicycle or car or any other uh, transport like that. It's a never-ending traveling, but we have other in the 21st century other tools than that
Mm,
to use. So after that, they were a little bit calmed down and less shocked. But it was. I probably you don't realize that you move countries until you actually put yourself on that plane and sit down on your seat that okay, it's really really happening now. So I think it was the same with them that they understand our choices and they respected it, but they didn't believe until everyone finally get on that plane
mm,
and moved to Ireland. So I think that was but since then, as many times they want. They hop on a plane, they know by heart when it's coming, when it's going, what time. So they became very professional travelers and they traveled with us everywhere we go. So they are they are expert now too.
mm. And that's one of the interesting aspects about moving countries. When the immediate nuclear family makes that decision, it does have that ripple effect. And
Yeah,
and it sounds like in your family, it opened things up. It only broadened everybody's horizons, really, because now
yeah.
they entertain traveling as much as you do. And when you say they go everywhere with you, when you take holidays in different countries, do they come with you?
Yeah, we just recently bought an apartment in Spain, for example, and they are traveling with us. So when we say that, okay, here we go, we are going on that day for spending the summer there, they just hop on the plane, of course, from Budapest, and we meet on the airport, and we spend the summer there. Even if they don't really speak Spanish or English, they still able to work that level of language. I don't know. Their communication is very funny because they don't speak English, they don't speak Spanish, but it seems that they still get along very well on everyone. And if they need a question, they need a guidance on the airports, they do it. So
Mm,
they always manage to land in the right airport, catch the right train back and forth, and they never had an issue on that. And they are happy to come with us, and they also visit us here in Ireland a lot. So we spend a lot of time, despite the fact that we are here in Ireland and they are in Hungary. We spend a lot of time together.
mm. And do you think that was one of the component reasons why Ireland has become the long-term home? Or, what are the other reasons why Ireland's ended up being home for 14 years?
I I do love Ireland. It is a lovely country with absolutely lovely people. So although the weather is not the best in Europe, but the countryside is beautiful, and probably because of the weather what we have here in Ireland. But what stayed me here is how people to people treat each other, how people communicate with each other, respect each other, even if they don't know each other. Still, it is absolutely just outstanding that you know how they act, how they help you, how they open, how they friendly and really wherever you go, it's regardless it is a hospital or this is a restaurant or this is a school or we're speaking about performances or a workplace, they are all really friendly people and wants to help you.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was, I think, made to stay here in Ireland and became our permanent home and ease. That's
Wow.
that
That's
effect.
a real commendation, to
Yeah,
because it started almost from the way you described Laszlo's
yeah,
job search, almost as a bit of potluck because he was applying across Europe and UK and and Ireland and then that one was the one that worked out. So that's quite an incredible thing
yeah,
that
yeah,
the first job he took is the job that has kept you happy in Ireland.
yeah.
Um, and what do you think are some of because you had two children in Hungary, and since moving to Ireland, you in that time you
Yeah.
had your third child. So what do you notice about that? What do you notice about having had two children in Hungary and a child in Ireland, if there's anything to say about that?
Um, no, as a mommy, I'm a very family-oriented mommy. I like my kids always around me constantly. So, for them, doesn't really matter. I believe that a child where it is until they know that the parents around them and they love them. So, this is what we tried to do here in Ireland as well. That I understand that we moved them and they were very small and they sensed the change about their home, about their environment. But we always were very much keen to make sure that the home, the heart, of the family is there and they are safe and they know that we are not, leave them behind, but we are together on this journey. And of course, they were very sad when they had to leave behind friends, but at this stage, they were very small as well. So, friendship, when you are in a kindergarten, it's a little bit different than, when you are a little bit older. So, I think they are brilliantly conquered that challenge. And the smallest one, he had no really, he couldn't compare the life between Hungary and Ireland, but I, if you ask them, they won't tell too much difference because for them the family is most important thing. And as I mentioned to you, we had the parents all the time over. They are coming over in 2 weeks time again, so they they never had to, because of our decision, they never had to say, "Oh, I never see my grandma," or "I see my grandma once a year." So, and the grannies also, they said that, they were part of that childhood. They never felt they left out because we moved countries.
Mm,
So we still could manage that even in two countries with such a different, you know, distance. With that distance we still could manage that we get close, and
mm,
especially now that you can have a video call or a phone call wherever, it's even easier. But again, they are traveling a lot, we are traveling a lot, so we we focused on that, and it was very important that the kids feel the family.
mm. And you say that the grandparents don't speak English. So have you
No,
brought your children up speaking Hungarian? So they speak Hungarian
they
and
do
English?
speak. Yeah, they do speak Hungarian, although the smallest one speaks less Hungarian, because the friends, the curriculum, everything stays in English. So we have to speak with him um, in English on that event. And his friends are all English speakers. But of course, when he spent the time in Hungary during the summer and he wants to ask just ice cream or something like that, he very much encouraged to learn the keywords Hungarian because otherwise he won't get, for example, an ice cream. So he understands a lot Hungarian and he speaks very important words like again ice cream in Hungarian, but I won't say that he fluently speaks the language yet,
Mm.
but he will
And
get there.
And how was it the other way around for the your first two small children when they moved as
They
Hungarian speakers,
they
assimilating
already
into, yeah.
yeah, they already spoke Hungarian when we moved, and they spent summers in Hungary. So it's again because we traveled a lot and we spent a lot of time with the parents with in Hungary. They they developed that language, so they are fluent
Mm.
in that way.
And how was it for your two children assimilating into Ireland, being given Ireland English speakers? So how did they adapt as Hungarian speakers into school and
Yeah.
life in Ireland?
It wasn't easy for them because, of course, the environment changed, and when a small child learning a new language, it's really hard to measure how much that child actually knows about the language, the words, speaking, or what. Because usually, when a small child has to learn a language, they just start speaking from one day to another. They don't give you that impression that okay, I understand what you are saying or not. It's somehow they improve themselves
Mm,
inside, and after when they feel confident they start speaking. So we had a couple of especially with the middle child. She had a chance to stay in crash after school thingy. So um, she learned fluently in English by the time then she started school. Now my oldest one, he was the one when we arrived in January and he had to start the school in September. So he had just half a year and we arranged a lot of playtimes. We went out to our neighbors. We met with the kids in the cul-de-sac where we lived, and it's amazing how quickly kids just pick up the language from another child. So this is what happened. Of course, when we went to school, we had to explain the teacher that he's just started to learn English and just bear that. But the English school system, the Irish school system is I like it very very much. They are very supportive, very encouraging. So my oldest son got English support, and the teacher were very careful how, especially in the first couple of months, how the homework was written to him, and just make sure that by encouraging him helped them to or helped him to catch up with the others. And after the first 2 years, I don't recall that any teacher ever told him that, "Oh, okay, your English needs to be improved or your vocabulary or whatever." That first 2 years was amazing, and I think he take it quite well. Yeah,
mm, that's fantastic. Really great.
yeah, yeah. I was very lucky, mommy.
Mm. Well, I'm sure who you were, since that role is so important to you, I'm sure you were highly instrumental in that being the case, in him adapting so well
Yeah,
into
yeah.
in during those first 2 years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. As I said to you, that family comes first, and the kids has to feel that their parents 100% behind them and
mm,
supporting them. And if it's hard at the beginning. But if they are not alone with that battle, and we are all supporting each other. So I think that was very, very much important to them to feel that they are not alone, and whatever support they need, they will get it.
absolutely. One of the things I find interesting when you talk about adapting and assimilating into a country are things like pronunciation. And your surname, I attempted to say it correctly, is Kovesh. But you don't use that pronunciation in Ireland, do you, to make life simpler
No.
for people? So, um, how do you introduce yourself to Irish people?
So the Gabriella is easy because it's an international name. Everyone knows that. Everyone remembers that. But the Kovac, it's a very much Hungarian name and it's hard to pronounce here. So we merged basically the V and the S together and left the E out. So we became Curves. And it's easier to remember and easier to pronounce. Uh, and this is what we experienced. So
Mm,
that's why we use that
mm,
name.
lovely. And did you find that people were guessing the pronunciation? So did you find that people were automatically saying it how they see it? Because if you look at it, it could be similar to curves, coves, you know. So were you finding
Yeah,
that they were wanting to tell you
yeah.
how your name was?
Well, to be honest, the Irish names pronunciation, I doubt it's easier than the Hungarian names pronunciation. So for me, when I arrived to the country, I remember when I saw a name written down, I didn't even try to pronounce it because it was so hard for me to guess. And of course, what I guessed was far away from the truth. So I stopped at very, very early stage. But yes, people who we met try to memorize it, and you could see that okay, it's again the Gabriella. They don't had any issue. They never had any issue with it. But the curves, it was I won't remember that next time, I'm sure, but they tried. So yeah, this is what I mentioned that they are open and they are friendly, and it was good to see that. Yeah, at least they tried to to pronounce me and pronounce my name and just repeat it after me. So yeah, that was nice. With my oldest son, he has a very typical Hungarian name because obviously, when he was born, we didn't consider when we choose the name that we are going to move to another country. So his name is Laszlo, which is a not easy pronunciation. It's not you cannot easily pronounce it in here, but amazingly, the teachers remembered very very well. The only thing what we had to change that it's not Laszlo, it's Laszlo. They couldn't pronounce the S and the Z together. This sound is not doesn't exist. So we said, okay, it's not S. Let's have it as a Z. And after they everyone remembered it. For the other two, they have a very international name, similar like mine. So it's easy to remember for them, and they easy to write down as well.
Mm, lovely. Um, and in terms of going back to you and your husband's kind of settling into Ireland and how you established your own lives, you know, the family life seems really well taken care of when you'd moved over. And how was it for you as individuals and as a couple settling into jobs and life in general?
Well, it's not easy because at the beginning, uh, even my husband had a permanent position. He had a 6 months period when was contract based, and made a decision that during that period of time we are not moving. I mean, me and my kids, we are staying in Hungary. So he moved alone to the city, and what he did during these 6 weeks, he looked around. So he find the best place to rent a house, find the schools, ask around the colleagues, what school is good, what school is not good, what neighborhood, because when you arrive to a city you don't know anything. You can read a lot of things online, that's true, but when you are there you don't know that having a home exactly where parsed you even start searching that house. So he did all these homework, and we joined him after 6 months. But of course, these 6 months when I was at home as a, I would say a single mommy, but I wasn't single because the grannies, they were there with us, for us, they supported us. So I never had a day when I had a single mommy day with two kids. But it was hard because the kids get used to that there is a daddy and there is a mommy, and we all had our homework that daddy read a story or daddy do the bath or I do. So we all, and they missed their dad very much. So that 6 months was a very very hard time for us
Mm,
to get through on it. But to be at the back, going back or seeing it back, might be that was the best decision because again we could make sure that the um, estate or the part of the city where we moved was a good part for the kids. The school what we chose was a good school to get into, and the neighborhood he had time to look around. So it was very much again focused that we wanted to make sure that the kids are feeling well and you know the the second home can become their first home as well. So playground around, a lot of kids around. And we were lucky we could choose a cul-de-sac where a lot of family had same age kids as they were at that time. So I remember they played a lot together and we neighbors get very well together and we were drinking tea and coffee together, and it was good to see for the kids as well that it's helped integrate in
mm,
to the new home, new neighborhood, new everything. So
mm,
that was what we did.
absolutely. And are you still in the same home?
No, we at that time that home was a rented home, and we wanted to buy the house, but it wasn't up for sale. So we found another home, and but now at this time we moved to our new home 8 years ago, and we could involve the kids into that new home selection. So they were with us when we checked the house, when we choose it online to review it, when we discussed with the agency what we would want to see, what we are looking for. So we involved them into that process. We explained what are the conditions, what we are looking for, and they also add their wish list, if I can say that. And yeah, they were we selected the house together. There were other houses where it's the vibe of the house wasn't as good, so we let that go. But we are very happy that 8 years ago, or now 8.5 years ago, we find the house, and it was since this is our home here.
Mm,
But same applies that we involved the kids when we looked for an apartment in Spain. Um, it's we are we look, or I look ourselves as a team, and if we put our heads together, I think this is the right choice when we do that.
mm,
So yeah,
that's amazing. And then when you moved house, when you first moved to Ireland, when your husband found the rented home, was that what was the job and the house in the city of Limerick, or was that
yeah,
already
yeah, it
outside?
was. Yeah. No, no, no. I'm not a city person. I never was a city person, and I ask my husband, don't buy or don't rent a house in the middle of the very busy city. So he kept that promise, and he we were a little bit outside, just outside of the main city center. So I like that one. And in this house is a house in a small village. I like that quietness. When you have a busy life, you need to have something what is compensating that. And living in a village, knowing that not far from the city if something needed, or hospitals or anything like that, but still uh, in the countryside, that's give a peace of mind
Mm,
to have that set up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you made that first move to Ireland and your husband found the home, presumably he had to make that choice of home relatively unilaterally. He had your requests, which he honored,
Yeah,
but that was probably so that I can see why that whole period was different to how you live life, because how you
yeah,
live
yeah.
life, everything is done as a family. But he had to, for those first 6 months, make decisions for your
For
arrival,
everyone.
for
Yeah, yeah,
everyone.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So how
Yeah.
do you think that was for him? Because if you're used to always being a team, do you think how was that when he had to
I
make the
think that
decisions for himself?
6 months wasn't easy for him either because he, as I said, he was a father of two kids, and he is still my partner, and and going alone to a mission and just find a home, a new family home, I think it put quite a pressure on him. And I know that he looked a lot of houses and he asked tons of questions from everyone. So I'm sure that at point in time, going back, it was a little bit stressful for him. Yeah.
Mm,
I don't think so.
but
And the way, again, staying away, from each other, that was really, really hard to manage. I
mm,
I would never do that again.
mm. And the reason you only did that was simply because his job was contract based and you wanted
Yeah,
to
for yeah,
wait out
yeah,
until it became a permanent position. Is that was
yeah.
that
And I
why?
want and I wanted to let him choose that this is really what he wants. That job is really what he willing to do, and this is it. What
Mm,
he found, what he can see. I'm not saying longer term because longer term is always very uh, hard to promise. But I said that if he sees himself in 2, 3 years time in that part, we can move, and we can do our stuff further in that direction. And after we will figure it out what is next.
mm,
Um, so I wanted to give him that choice as well because sometimes everything looks shiny, and when you look into it into more details, you realize that oh, it's not really what I wanted. So I wanted to give him that option to step back if it's not what he would like to do.
mm. Wow, sounds really well thought out. And you're right about the rose tinted glasses. We look through and we think it looks like this. And then when you make the move, did were you ever tempted to look back at Hungary with rose tinted glasses and think, or did you just kind of make the move and uh, and just look forward?
Yeah, there was a time for me as well. I had my favorite hairdresser. It seems pity or not important. Or I had my dentist to go to, or there were key things where I really much attached to. I had my routine. I know this butcher. I know everything. Where I go to, and you were there suddenly with two small kids in a the house was really nice and the area was nice, but I had no idea if I want to buy a milk or a bread, where to go to or which direction shall I choose. So that was the second phase when we had to discover, basically where is my favorite butcher, where I like to buy my bread. So that simple things like that. Of course, but in the other hand, it was new, it was something different, and new things always have this excitement to figure it out, or at least in me, that it's always re-energize yourself, with something new looking forward to. So that was good.
Mm. And you talked about having a 2 to 3 year plan, not asking your husband to look far, far out into the future.
Yeah.
And is that how you've come to be there for 14 years? You've just looked, or have you,
Yeah.
how do you think you arrived at the point you're at now that you're still there?
I think years just passing by very, very quickly, much quicker than people think. But yeah, that 2, 3 years we were ready. We didn't even sell our house at the time in Hungary. We kept it for quite a long time. Just keep it. Bear in mind that if we want to have a choice moving back to Hungary, we, we know where to go to in the first place, and after we will figure it out what the next step is. But 2, 3 years, it seems always the right period to look out. 2, 3 years, it's good enough to see. You settle down. The shiny things are not shiny anymore, and you might able to do the right choices. But if we stayed, because again, I love how people interact with people, how they communicate, how they respect each other. And I think that was the point when which turned me that I would like to stay here. And I know in 2017 we would have a chance to move back to Hungary, but exactly for that reason we said no to that opportunity. So we decided that no, we are not moving, because I just love this, respect between people here. Irish
Mm,
people are absolutely just, a good example how we should treat each other as people.
mm. That's very moving, actually. And I'm sure, very rewarding for Irish people to know that that's how they are and how they're perceived. Um, and when it comes to how you look at your future, do you still use that 2 to 3 year model? Is that how you?
Yes, I think I would. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is definitely something what, like now, we said that we have an apartment in Spain. We bought it. I don't know. You see the 2, 3 years going very far, very fast. I think actually we got the key early 2023. Yeah, yeah, because it's early 2023, and we already thinking that might be we just explore the option that we move to Spain, and maybe not forever, might be 2, 3 years. Who knows? Or maybe 1, 2 years. I don't know that, but yeah, that's still an option in the pocket when
Mm,
you explore other countries' culture, and how you can fit in. Um, I My Spanish is very limited, but I love learning those languages, and the Spanish people are also very friendly, and we never had a situation. However, we had to find a vet for our dog, or we had to find a dentist for our younger son, and I didn't speak Spanish other than café con leche. So it's really amazing that they also could come around. We never hang up with a conversation or a phone or whatever, then we couldn't solve the situation. So our dog was well looked after, my son tooth was looked after. So we always find a way, because they also a type of people who would like to solve things, who are friendly and um, and nice as well. So I'm not seeing as a definite no that we are not going to move there. Why not? We moved once, we managed it once. Why we wouldn't manage it one more time? So,
mm,
or even more time. I don't know.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think for you that once having moved countries, for you the door is always open to move countries again then?
I think being in the EU, and especially after COVID, that's something what absolutely you can explore, because COVID teached us that you can basically work remotely, and might it's your work might become more effective, more efficient, and there are new jobs opportunities there than we ever thought before. So this is something definitely what here in Europe, it's will bring me such a flexibility, and I will consider that, if opportunity comes, why not
Mm,
look into it?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to ask you, why Spain? Why did you choose an apartment in Spain, and which area of Spain did you choose?
Apologies in advance from Ireland. But who knows Ireland knows that the weather in the summer is no different than the weather in the autumn or in the spring. So we were looking for a holiday home here in Ireland, but after considering the weather and the potential summer what we could have in our holiday home here in Ireland, comparing it to other countries under the sun, we said that might be this is something what might be need to explore it a little bit further than just buy here in Ireland a holiday home, because the weather will be exactly the same as in our home. If it's raining and it's raining a lot. So under the sun, we checked a couple of countries, um, and basically we said that Ireland we need to we, you can travel by ferry, but the easiest one if you go by airplane. So we checked to where airplanes are going, how often are going. There is a couple of airport here. What is the closest to us? If the closest one can offer us enough, road options or traffic to the city. And this is how Alicante came into the picture. It's a very often going, very, I'm not saying cheap, but very good on a very good price. And the distance is no different if you would, travel to Hungary or to Italy or to France. It's more or less the same. So we picked Alicante, but again, I don't like the big cities, so that's why we started to look straight away in smaller cities. And we find a little city just between Alicante and Valencia, and I think it's still a hidden spot from the tourist. And this is absolutely a family-oriented beach, very nice people, and it's a smaller city. It's a city, but it's a smaller city, and it's very quiet. So we said this is the spot what we would like to, and this is how we got there.
Ah, that's lovely. Well, I won't ask you to reveal the name since it's a hidden spot, and we'll keep it that way. But that's lovely. That's amazing. What a
Yeah,
find.
that's
And how did you find it? Just by driving around and exploring different towns and
No, you will laugh on us. We used the internet and we used the agency, and after we had our list, and that was our apartment, our project, where we said that we cannot drag everyone there because of the timing. So my husband flew over, and we were on the video with the kids, and we said that our demand is that many bathroom, that many rooms, we want a balcony, and so on and so on. So poor husband went to the agency and showed that list, and after we selected and we want to see that five because we don't have much time to pick any, and he just went, I don't recall, 3 4 days top, that was it. So we had to be, very much hurry with it, and we could we could pick one apartment. It's amazing, you see it and you know this is it.
mm, especially
So
online. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was there and we were online and we said,
Yeah.
okay, show me that, show me that, show me that. And yeah, tick, 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 tick. Okay, this is it. So
Mm,
that was very first exceptional buying an
mm,
apartment online. That was very, very, very strange.
mm,
But it worked out well at the end.
mm.
Yeah.
I like your vision. I like your approach because the whole team spirit and doing everything together and And the fact that you're so family oriented as a family actually means that if you were to move to Spain, you haven't really ended up with a holiday home. You've ended up with a home in a town
Yeah.
of Spanish people. So that migration into living in Spain would be real rather than living
Yeah.
in a holiday resort or, not a
Yeah.
resort, but in a holiday location. Um,
Yeah.
so, so, whether you live there or not, or move there or not, you're getting the best of both
Yeah.
countries at the moment, it seems, from how you
Yeah, it
describe it.
was it yeah, it was very important that the kids also board on buying the apartment and buying that particular apartment. So we were lucky that I mean the two older one because Peter was very small, or still very small. He won't say anything to you on that. But each kids has their own bedroom in the apartment, and they got a budget what they can use to decorate their room. And I think that's also important that they actually fill the home even more customized for themselves because they were painting, they were again decorating, they were choosing their bed frames, their everything. So it really echoes back their personality, and we wanted to make sure that it is that way.
Mm,
So, for example, Peter has a Spider-Man bread, bed sheet because this is what he chosen. So this is it.
mm. And are
But
you making friends, local friends in Spain?
uh, it's really hard to make local friends in Spain because we got the key in early January or whatever, it's 2023, and we just spent the summer there. This summer we didn't spend there. We met with you in somewhere else, so we didn't spend summer there this year. But what we know that we find our coffee shop. So every morning we go for a morning coffee, and the people in the coffee shop, they already knows us. They already know what we would like to drink in the morning. So they already say hi to us. But friends, we are not we haven't spent enough time to meet and became friends. We know our neighbors, we say hi to our neighbors, but friendship, it's a little bit different. I think we need to spend a couple of more summer there to to have friendship.
Mm,
But again, our family visiting us, so our friends from Hungary visiting us there, so we are not bored at all.
no, yeah. So it ends up being a place of reunion as well, because
Yeah,
as you
yeah, yeah,
already
yeah.
said, your the grandparents come over, but also Hungarian friends. So you're
Yeah,
reuniting, which is very
yeah.
special.
That's
Mm,
important to have a place, where you all can just a little bit get away from the weekdays and
mm,
working days and just be together. That's
mm,
important, and not run all the time. Just settle down a little bit.
exactly.
Other than having friends, and we still keep touch with our friends who were friends at that time when we moved from Hungary, and keep the family together. Um, we have an apartment there as well, so if we want to move, we can move back to Hungary. That's no problem. So we didn't really break all the bridges behind us. Um, yeah, that's,
Very good.
we can. This is it that for me, when you leave a country, doesn't mean, even if you physically not there, it doesn't mean that you leave physically the country. You can be very much connected with your country at a different, you have many, many tools to do that. You
Mm,
not just physically needs to be there to do it.
mm. What are some of the examples and the ways you're connected, apart from people, to Hungary?
For me, it's the most important thing. So
Mm,
when we go home, we meet with the family. We go to, concert together, or all those events, especially summer. There is in our hometown there is a lot of summer program what you can find for all the generations, and the 20th of August, this is a big celebration in Hungary. It's a national uh, holiday basically. So you you hard it's really would be really hard to find or not to find an event where you cannot really show your kids, okay, this is Hungary, this is how we celebrate, this is what we celebrate, these are the main historical, dates and points what you might want to recall, remember, and we show them. We traveled even in Hungary to different spot like Balaton Lake. It's a very nice place to go. So they know all those things, um, not just learning them in a books. Um, this is what we usually do with Hungary. So that's why I'm not worried. If once I moved, I moved. I live in Ireland, but I still can share my heart between, Hungary, Spain, and Ireland. I don't have to definitely choose just one country.
No, absolutely not. That's beautiful. Thank you. So, given you have these great connections with Hungary, is this possibly one of the reasons why you and your husband have started a new business together?
Yes, yeah, it was. Again, if you remember at the beginning of the conversation, I mentioned that my husband just felt that something is missing from his life, and that's why he started to look for another job. Now, I think this time came again that he missing something from his life, so he wants to explore the creativity, and he always had this second dream or the dream itself that he would create something by himself, and he would just like to explore that adventure a little bit further. And we were brainstorming a lot what that, because sometimes a small idea, just a small idea need to make great things. And until then, he just went back to his childhood. This is the time when I need an idea, I need an idea. You just go back by time in your life, and what did you do, what you did like, what you didn't like, what you missed, what you did not miss. And that was one moment when he had no he hasn't got an easy childhood when he grew up. And there was one particular toy what he helped him through that time, and that was a hype-based building toy. And as soon as when he went through and were thinking this memory, you could see on his face that this is it, I found it. So he is at the moment he's trying to develop a prototype of a toy, which is um, fall into the STEAM educational toy category. But it's more important that this is what even the prototype is not finalized fully yet. But my kids, they are working, not working. They are playing together, working on building something together. And through that game, they can talk, they can, negotiate this piece is mine. No, this is piece, I would need that. You know what? I give that a hat. And look, if you put that piece here, look what it became. So it's absolutely great to see that even with a big time difference, because my oldest and youngest, the age difference between these two boys, it's 11 years. So this is really the time when we have time to build connection between the siblings, because once the oldest one really becoming an adult and move away, after that this is the relationship what we build in these years will be cherished, I hope, for the rest of their life. And this is what they will go back and find each other wherever they go. And this toy, it's amazing how they can come together and play together. So that's why this is something what is now a new dream, and hopefully it won't just stay a dream, but we can bring it to the next stage. And if it worked for him and I can see it works on my children, hopefully it will, will help others as well.
Mm,
So we will see. I think it's also, just warm his heart, if I can say that,
mm,
that he's bring up so much memory in him, just seeing that. It's emotionally, very intense experience, so that's also good to see.
mm.
Yeah.
Lovely. I can see you all sitting in your coffee shop in Spain playing this game across the table, and the
Yeah.
Spanish people in the all wanting to get involved and looking to see how they can and that
Yeah.
collaboration happening between you and the local people in the coffee
Yeah.
shop. It is lovely what you're pointing to, the fact that, connection and collaboration is key. And it's key whether it's within, the community of Limerick or the County Limerick or
Yeah.
wider. So yeah, it's really lovely, and particularly touching that it's kind of bringing together your husband's memories with
Yeah.
your outlook of seeking people's greatness. So
Yeah.
what a vision. So thank you very much, Gabriella, for being with me today. I really appreciate you sharing your family's stories and your move to Ireland. And I really love your appreciation of the Irish people. That's been really touching. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. It was lovely to be here, and thank you so much for that conversation or that chat. It really made my day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.